Hey there, my name is LexC and thank you so much for tuning in to my channel today. Hey there, welcome if you are new, welcome back if you are returning. Today we are getting into the book review for The Richest Man Who Ever Lived, subtitled King Solomon's Secrets to Success, Wealth, and Happiness by Stephen K. Scott. Now, this book is all influenced by the Bible and the different lessons that King Solomon learned and the wisdom that was imparted upon him. So this is coming directly from the book of Proverbs in the Bible. Using the text from Proverbs in the Bible, it is teaching us about the secrets to success, wealth, and happiness. King Solomon was the richest, King Solomon was the wisest, and that's what this book is imparting upon us today. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in hearing more about and learning some of those lessons and learning some of those secrets, then make sure you stay tuned.
Link up around 12 a.m. Hit the club around 1 a.m. Get lit around 2 a.m. Toe up around 3 a.m. Waffle House around 4 a.m. Drunk text around 5 a.m.
Let's go ahead and get into this review. Again, this book is called The Richest Man Who Ever Lived, King Solomon's Secrets to Success, Wealth, and Happiness, and the author is Stephen K. Scott. This book was copyrighted in 2006. There are 265 pages. It is broken up into 16 chapters, and there are also little exercises and prompts at the ends of each chapter to make you think a little bit more deeply about how you can apply some of these principles in your life and calling out some of the things in your life to bring more awareness so that there's an opportunity for change. I'm gonna try to pick out my favorites just so this video won't be too long, but hopefully, if you're new here, this is what I do. I read different excerpts that really stood out to me. Those of you who have been watching my reviews, you know the drill. The first part that stuck out to me comes from chapter 2, The Key to Winning Every Race, and we're on page 15. Those who are truly diligent not only control their own destiny, but enhance the achievements of those around them as well. And I really love this because really this whole chapter is talking about being diligent in everything that you do, and it kind of reminds me of the 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, and one of the 4 agreements is being impeccable with your word. In my opinion, diligence, being diligent and being impeccable with your word, it's one and the same thing. It's the same meaning. It's when you said that you were going to do something, you get it done. You don't really make excuses, you don't delay, because when you delay your word to yourself, you're also delaying the achievements and the desires of other people, and you don't want to be caught up with that. So having diligence is the first major lesson that this book introduces to us. And it actually gets it from the Proverbs chapter 12, verse 24. The hand of the diligent will rule, but the slack hand will be put to forced labor. Would you prefer to have your life controlled by your boss and other people, or would you rather control your own life? The vast majority of people are in a perpetual state of hunger, not for food, at least in America, but for things. Americans today have more debt and lower savings than any generation in our nation's history. No matter what we have, it seems as if it is never enough. Contentment and true fulfillment seem to be as rare as a winning lottery ticket. Imagine being so contented and fulfilled that you crave nothing. While others fight to be noticed, the diligent are sought out by people in positions of authority or prominence. So there is this whole idea that being diligent, going after what you want so that you're not always in this constant rat wheel of craving things that you think you want, things that you think you need. But there is a certain contentment that comes with, I am going after something that I said I want. I become an authority on that thing, and other people seek me out when I am content in what I am doing and what I am seeking to accomplish. The next part that sticks out to me is on the next page, on page 16. It says, I highlighted this quote, "Don't be fooled by people who look successful on the surface." And the reason why this resonates with me is because I work in the music industry, and there's a lot of smoke and mirrors that goes on. It's a lot of manipulating perceptions to make things and make people seem larger than life and bigger than they really are, right? So this quote just stuck out to me because it's don't be fooled by people who look successful on the surface. Everything that glitters is not gold. It might glitter, but is it a solid piece of gold, or is it a rock covered in gold sheet, you know? And this quote really drives home for me. Moving on to page 25, this part says, wake up and stop procrastinating. I've got a few pink highlights going on here. Wake up and stop procrastinating. And then on page 25, defining a vision is an essential component of diligence. In fact, it's impossible to be truly diligent if you don't have a clear vision of what you want to achieve. Bringing diligence into your life is the single most important step you can take. And of course, this is adding on to what we read on page 15, right? There's no way you can have diligence if you don't know what you are working towards. So really, this is just reiterating, talking about the vision. What is the goal? What is the overall purpose? What is the umbrella of why we're doing the things that we're doing? And it does also mention the concept of vision mapping in this book, if I'm not mistaken. And vision mapping is, I don't know if any of you have ever watched Gary Vaynerchuk. He talks about reverse engineering. It's the same concept. Even vision boarding, it's the same concept. It all falls under this visualization and getting really clear about what you want, and then putting a label to it, putting an imagery to it, putting, you know, written word to it, putting it out in physical form where you can see it every day, right? But vision mapping is you have this big goal and you're breaking it down. Reverse engineering, big goal, breaking it down into these smaller bite-sized pieces, little tiny pieces that will build up to that huge payoff, that big goal, the title in bold, if you will. So let's say that I want to be a singer, right? And I actually did this years ago before I understood that it was called vision mapping. I may not have known that it was called reverse engineering either, but when I got out of school, when I graduated college, I actually created like a curriculum of success for myself. And the main goal was becoming a superstar, right? But within becoming a superstar, there are all these tiny little things that I need to accomplish along the way. And all of those things work and feed into the bigger goal of being a superstar. So it's not like I need to be able to sing, of course, but I also wanted to know how to write music. I need to do vocal lessons. I need to make sure my voice is good. Being an artist, I got to be the total package. So I have to place value in physical fitness and eating properly, dieting properly, eating the proper foods. Sitting down and going into interviews, because press runs are a very important part of being an artist, and relating to people and getting people to like you and buy into your persona or buy into your music. So I have to be able to communicate through the songwriting, and I have to be able to communicate through sit down interviews. How do I speak to people? How do I address people? How do I relate to people? How do I share stories with people? And then there's a performance aspect. I need to be a good dancer, or at least have a decent sense of rhythm, right? So I need to work on flexibility of my body, full range of motion. Again, making sure that my muscles and my body is in good condition to achieve some of the movements and some of the looks that I want to achieve. And just all these different little things that go into what it takes to be a superstar. That would be my example to you of what vision mapping looks like. Breaking it down into all those little tiny bits that really are important to the overall goal. Next, let's move on to chapter 4. This is Solomon's power secret for turning dreams into reality. And this is on page 43 as well as 45. So, we create the seeds of hope in others by stating or implying commitments. These commitments create a vision. If we fail to fulfill those commitments in a timely manner, we then defer others' hope. They lose their energy and motivation. Moreover, they lose their trust in us. The consequences of deferring hope in others can even lead to the death of a relationship. If you want loyalty, creativity, and productivity from those who work with you, don't defer the hopes and dreams you are responsible for creating. And this part really hits home for me because for a long time I struggle with, partially because I do so much, but then it's also partially because I'm kind of selfish, and also partially because I'm kind of burnt out. I do so many things that when it comes time to work with people, I'm not always the most speedy I'm not as quick as other people would like me to be. And that works. That's just me, right? Because I like to take my time with things. But sometimes it is very difficult to just get into contact with me. And I can admit that. I have so many people who are always trying to hit me up all the time to get studio time or to hang out, or they want something from me, and my phone is blowing up constantly. When I lock into doing a task, I don't want to be disturbed, so I turn my phone on silent, and that gets people upset as well because they can't reach me when they want to reach me. But the main point of this is, when we make commitments to people, we should be diligent with handling those things swiftly and efficiently. And when we don't do that, when we're not impeccable with our word, to couple this with the 4 agreements, when we're not impeccable with our word and when we're not diligent, we're not only deferring our own hopes and dreams, but we're deferring the expectations, hopes, and dreams of other people. So it's something that we have to be mindful of and be considerate of. And it's something that I maintain, something that I continue to work on every day. The next few parts that really resonate with me is in chapter 6. And the title of chapter 6 is The Great Accelerator, the key to maximum success in minimum time. And I'm going to skip around to a few pages. We've got page 77. The person who refuses instruction or counsel will experience both poverty and shame. Okay. We've got page 80. Nobody sails through life without experiencing trials and unexpected falls. Sooner or later, they come to all of us. And that actually reminds me of when I was doing the book review on A Wish in a Jar by Archivius Crane. Y'all go, which way is it gonna be? That way, I think. Y'all go check that out. But it's, in that one, it's like, sometimes an accident is just an accident. Things happen, and it's just that. It just happened. Doesn't mean that just because you're a good person, you're not gonna have bad things happen. Bad things happen to good people and bad people. Good things happen to bad people and good people, Nobody is exempt. But the next one is on page 85. A man who is dishonest with others will sooner or later be dishonest with you or your clients. Business role right there. Business. Page 88. Solomon distrusted big talkers, people who talk a lot and perform little. Being in the music industry where everybody's really good at talking, I feel that so hard. And then the last one is on page 90. Examine their walk before you listen to their talk. And again, this is chapter 6, The Great Accelerator, the key to maximum success in minimum time. Next part that resonated with me is in chapter 7. This chapter is called The Happiness Secret. And we're gonna go to page 99. It is impossible to be happy and envious at the same time. Envy takes your eyes off what you have and focuses your attention on what you don't have. We cannot prevent envious thoughts from entering our hearts, but we can keep them from taking root. When your heart is full of gratitude, there is no room for envy to grow. And I think that's a pretty self-explanatory excerpt right there, They say that comparison is the thief of joy, and I know it's really hard not to compare ourselves in this day and age, thanks to the popularity of social media. And even though we all know that social media is a highlight reel of what's going on in people's lives, it's only showing the good stuff, the fun stuff, the bright, colorful stuff, but it's never showing the sad moments, the dull moments, the mundane things, or, the setbacks. Nobody's advertising their setbacks and their failures, right? So we see these highlight reels and we think that we're so far behind in life. And even though we know that this is a highlight reel, we still feel bad about ourselves and thinking, man, this person is so much further than me. But you never know what people did, what people had to go through to get the things that they have. And so that's why we should not be envious. That's why we should not be too quick to judge ourselves and compare ourselves to others, because everyone's journey truly is different. And at the end of the day, would you want to have to go through the things that they went through to achieve the things that they achieved, to get the things that they got? I don't know. When you learn the answers to those questions, like what people went through to get to where they are, there's something that a pastor of mine said. I don't know if it was like Stephen Furtick from Elevation Church, or maybe it was T.D. Jakes, I sometimes watch those gentlemen online, but he said that the reason why God is so mysterious, right? If he told you everything that you were gonna have to go through to get to the other side, do you think you would walk that path? Do you think you would take that journey? And truthfully, if a lot of us saw the things that it would take to get through, to get to the other side, to get what we say we want, we probably would just sit here and be like, nah, I don't want to do all that. So God will not reveal everything that we have to go through. And in the same way, people don't reveal everything they go through, but he won't reveal everything we'll have to go through to get to the other side. Because chances are, if we knew what it took, we wouldn't want to do it anyway. I'm going to skip ahead to chapter 9, winning and resolving every conflict. And we're going to go to page 132. This says, this is point number 4. Ooh, pick 3, my lord. This is point number 4 in this chapter. Do not answer a fool in the manner he attacks. Many arguments and conflicts are immature at best and foolish at worst. Solomon advises us not to come down to the level of our attackers. If someone calls us names or attacks our character, don't respond by calling the other person names and attacking their character. Solomon tells us, do not answer a fool according to his folly, lest you also be like him. He goes on, answer a fool as his folly deserves. Attack and expose his argument, and do not attack him personally. If he is not receptive to your input, then just walk away. Let him suffer the consequences of his foolishness. And it's crazy because I wanted to compare this to something totally different in my life. But as I'm reading this right now, I'm thinking about a personal situation that happened after a romantic relationship went sour. And it was like, it involved me and another woman finding out that we were dealing with the same guy, basically. You know, this might be too much information, but if you're not willing to be vulnerable, then why should y'all feel like connecting with me, right? So we're being vulnerable right now. But as I'm reading this passage, I'm thinking to myself, like, there were some little jabs that she would throw at me by way of social media. Like, once I did not act the way she wanted me to act, and granted, yes, I can look back and say I was being dumb in the things that I was either believing or not seeing, or chose to still deal with this person after certain things had been revealed. So I can take accountability on that part. But it always bothered me how she came after me, like, she was so nice, you know? But then once she thought that I was doing things against her, that whole thing flipped, and she was coming after me on social media, even though dude was the one that was acting out and like trying to get her attention. It was a whole mess, y'all. It was a whole mess. But I'm thinking to myself, like, I wonder what it would have been like, what would have happened if I would have responded back to her in the same way that she did me. She would like come at me on social media and be like, I would vent on Twitter and vent about how miserable I was, like how I went to Twitter to complain. And she called me out on it and was like, basically, girl, shut the F up. Like, don't nobody care. You stayed with somebody that you weren't happy with. Shut up and da 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 da. And instead of going back and forth with her on there, we got each other's numbers. I tried to text, tried to call, be like, yo, I don't know what's going on. I even reached out to a mutual friend and was like, hey, I don't know what I did. So can you give me some advice on maybe how I should go about this? And he said, yeah, you know what? Maybe you should invite her to lunch and maybe y'all could sit down and have a conversation. Tried that. She wasn't trying to hear it. And at the risk of babbling on about this situation that I'm supposed to be over, but my mind just went back to that while reading this. Do not answer a fool in the manner he attacks. And I'm proud of myself because I feel like I handled that situation in the way that this book is saying that is a wise way to go about it. I'm not coming at you. I'm not calling you names. I'm not attacking you. I'm trying to find a solution. My efforts were not received. And so I just fell back from that whole situation, fell back from her, fell back from him. Both of them got blocked. And yeah, I don't know what they got going on these days, but that's an example. Like, I feel proud of myself for how I handled that. And I did not allow myself to get out of character, because the woman that I want to be, I don't handle situations like that. So I'm just really proud of myself. Just really proud of myself on that one. Let's see. This one will probably be my last one because I don't want this video to be longer than 30 minutes. I think I want to skip to chapter 11, piggybacking off of what we just said, right? So let me go to page 174, and this is chapter 11, Overcoming the Most Destructive Force in Relationships. And page 174, Never Seek Revenge. In Proverbs 24, verse 29, Solomon writes, "Do not say, 'I'll do to him as he has done to me. I'll pay that man back for what he did.' He warns against revenge in any form, from talking back to paybacks. As Proverbs chapter 26 verse 7 says, "Whoever digs a pit shall fall therein, and he that rolls a stone, it will return unto him." So again, just these little parts feel very validating for me to piggyback off of the situation I was telling y'all about. Sometimes I get very upset because I wish that I clapped back at people. I wish I rose my voice. I wish I cursed people out. And I wish that I did certain things to people back to them that they did to me. But I know those things don't feel good. And I'm not the type of person that wants to inflict that pain because I know it hurts. I don't want someone else to hurt. And so I won't retaliate. I don't seek revenge. I won't return attacks in the way that the fool has attacked me, you know, and it makes me angry sometimes. It does. This book doesn't really talk about the emotions behind acting in the way that we're supposed to and being wise in our actions. It doesn't mention whether or not we are feeling happy or sad or angry or upset, you know what I mean? It just says do these things. But I would like to acknowledge, like, yeah, it does suck to be the bigger person in situations. It does suck to feel like you're being a punching bag for people when you're just trying to do the right thing. It does suck because sometimes those efforts, you don't see the rewards for those things, sometimes months, years down the line. And we just have to be content in our mission and our goal. To go back to the whole diligence conversation, I do have a clear understanding of the type of woman I want to be. And the type of woman, the type of person I want to be, I don't act in certain ways. And so I can only find solace in those things. I can only find contentment in those things. And I live my life according to the values that I'm holding myself to, the standards that I'm holding myself to. So I actually do have a lot more quotes that I could pull from this book, but this is just like a wealth of knowledge. And I actually also want to give a shout out to Q Crane because he gave this book to me. He gave this book to me and I really enjoyed it. I hope that y'all enjoyed some of the takeaways that I had. Overall, I really enjoyed this book. It's super easy to read. It's very easy to get through the chapters. The chapters are perfectly lengthened, perfectly spaced, so I felt like I was getting through and not dragging through certain sections of the book. I really enjoyed this. There's so many gems, and this is definitely one of those books that you should pick up and read at least maybe once a year, just to revisit. Because there are also exercises in this book that helps you to go through a vision map. It helps you to pick out maybe certain bad qualities about yourself that you want to change, that you want to refine. It helps you to recognize your strengths and figure out how you can hone into those things. And because of this book, I've also been reading a chapter of Proverbs every day. And it's only like 2 to 5 minutes to read each chapter of Proverbs. But yeah, that's where you can find the lessons that this book is presenting. It's all in the book of Proverbs in the Bible. So let me know what y'all resonated with. Leave it in the comment section down below. Of the quotes that I read to you, what was your favorite? What struck a chord with you? Let me know if you've read it, or let me know if you will read it in the comment section down below. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell to be notified each and every time I post a new piece of content. If you're listening on a podcasting platform, leave a review for this episode. Let me know what you think. And if you're going to rate the show, leave a 5 out of 5 star rating. I would greatly appreciate that. But thank you all so much for joining me for the book review of The Richest Man Who Ever Lived, King Solomon's Secrets to Success, Wealth, and Happiness by Stephen K. Scott. Alrighty, my name is LexC. Until next time, peace.
Hey Lex, where you at? Had a long week trying to get lit. Jet vibe, no stress. Ain't been locked us on